everyone, welcome back to the beginning of another weekly reading vlog. I've really been enjoying these recently. I don't know about you guys, but I have a lot of fun making these and just keeping track of my reading this way. I feel like I can give you more of my opinions on the books as I kind of read them. I definitely feel like in my monthly wrap-ups I can't really go into like loads of detail because I'm trying to talk about 15 books in one video, for instance, and I've tried to keep them as short as possible because otherwise those videos are just horrendously long. So this just gives me a nice opportunity to give you more of my thoughts, and I really like that. So what are we going to be reading this week? So I have just finished reading The Dreamers by Karen Thompson Walker, which was a book I mentioned that I was reading last week. I really enjoyed that one. I actually ended up giving it 5 stars. I listened to the audiobook of it. It was so enjoyable and it reminded me a lot of Station 11 by Emily St John Mandel. So if you enjoyed that book, I think you would really like this one. She does such a good job of like interweaving all of these different characters and their stories during this pandemic type situation, and I just loved it. Really enjoyed it. The writing style, her words were just so poetic and beautiful. I loved it. Just go and read it if it takes your fancy, although I would say that it probably isn't for everyone at the moment because it does kind of deal with the idea of infectious diseases and pandemic type things, and so whilst in the book it is like contained to like an actual city, like they basically like blockade the whole city so that the infectious disease can't get out. It does have that similar kind of panic of a post-apocalyptic type novel, so yeah, I would definitely recommend. The other book that I've been reading, I mean, I haven't got much further. I started reading this one last week and I only read 1 chapter, and then I continued reading it in Rhiannon's live sprints on Saturday, which was yesterday, and I'm about 55 pages in, so I haven't got too much further, but I do think I will pick this one up more now this week at some point. We'll see what happens. But 2 other books that I've literally only just started reading right now. One of them being Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid. I've read the first chapter of this one, really enjoyed what I've read so far. Essentially a young black girl who's a babysitter for a white family while she's at a party, so she's kind of dressed in heels, she's had a few drinks, she gets a call from her employer who asks her to come to their house at like 10:30 at night to come and just take their child to the supermarket just while something is happening at the house. And while she's at the supermarket, she's obviously, you know, dressed as if she's been to a party, she has a bit of like an alcohol smell on her breath. Somebody assumes that she's actually kidnapped this white child and that she's like doing something really bad, which obviously she isn't, and so that's pretty much the first chapter at the moment, so really looking forward to seeing where this one goes. And I've also picked up, although I've only literally just read 4 pages of this, And the Mountains Echoed by Khalid Hosseini. This one has been on my bookshelf forever. I literally don't know when I bought this. It's been here a very long time, but this one is one of the books that this year that I've set myself a kind of challenge to try and read books that have been on my shelf for an extended period of time, and this one may be one of the like oldest books on my bookshelf. And then the only other thing that I'm planning on reading this week is an audiobook, and I've put up, I don't know if I can show you, but I basically put up a poll on my Instagram today to say which of these books do you think I should read, and at the moment The Descendant of the Crane by Joan He is winning by a large margin. I don't know how many people have voted on that one so far. 39 people have voted on that one so far, as opposed to 11 on Wicked As You Wish by Rin Chupeco. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what the result of that one is. I imagine it will be Descendant of the Crane, unless some force of nature comes through and like really boosts the votes of the other one. So I'll probably start listening to that one tomorrow at some point. But for now, I'm actually going to go and visit my friend who has had a baby. You may remember a few weeks ago I was making a mobile for a friend who was about to have a baby. She has since had that baby, and so we're going for a socially distanced walk and I'm gonna meet the baby for the first time, so that's really exciting. I won't take you along because I feel like that's a bit intense, like especially for a new mother who is probably very tired and stressed and all the things. So yes, I will see you all on the next update. I don't really know how much of like things are going to be happening in this vlog, but we'll see. I'm like very this today. I don't know, I'm in like an excited mood. I'm about to see a baby. That's probably what this is. Anyway, I hope you're all doing really well and I'll catch up with you in a bit. Hey everyone, it's now Thursday. Where this week has gone, I cannot even tell you. I feel like the weeks are just going so quickly at the moment. How are we halfway through April already? Mind-boggling. Which means that we're actually only a couple of months away from our wedding day, which we realised this week. So we've been doing quite a bit of wedding planning. Mark's got his groomsmen's jackets ready and I've been talking with my bridesmaids, although it was quite funny because one of my bridesmaids accidentally messaged a group that I was in about my hen do, basically saying what my hen do plan was, not realising that I was in the group, and I was like, oh hey, I can see that. I don't think you meant to message me, and so somewhat spoiled, but actually I just found it all very funny, made me laugh. Anyway, what have I been reading this week? So I have been really enjoying The Descendant of the Crane by Joan He. This one, I think I showed it to you the other day. Oh, you can never see that when I do that. I don't know why I even try. So this one is a fantasy based on kind of Asian culture, and our main character is a lady named Hasina, and she is at the very beginning a princess and her father has died and she believes that her father has been murdered. And so the overarching story is a kind of murder mystery. All the way along there are so many kind of twists and turns and you kind of think you know what's going on, and then suddenly something else will be thrown in, a little bit more of a clue as to what's going on. There's also a magical element of it, so there's these soothsayers who are able to kind of see into the future, or they're able to see into the past. And so soothsayers in the place where Hasina lives are seen as really dangerous people, and so they're captured and tortured or killed. It's a YA and I think it may be the best YA that I've read so far this year, so really enjoying that one. Also read about 60 pages of And the Mountains Echoed. Enjoying this one so far as well. The writing style is really, really lovely. Like, it flows so beautifully. You know, sometimes where you just start reading something and you think, I don't know, almost like it's a stream of conscious that you could think yourself. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like it just is so in tune with how you would phrase things that when you read it, it feels like it just clicks with your brain. I don't think I'm describing that very well, but this is doing that. I'm reading it and it just feels so wonderful and natural and I really love it. So far we're following a young boy named Abdullah and his sister Pari, and they have been taken into Kabul by their father. It's set in Afghanistan, and I'm not going to say what happened, but something's happened whilst they're there, and that I believe is now the kind of kick-off point of the rest of the book. But it's essentially about the relationship between him and his sister. Really beautiful so far. I've also read a fair chunk, I think about 75 pages of Such a Fun Age. Really enjoying this one as well. We're having a good week for reading actually, even though it has felt like I've not really done a lot of reading. Love the juxtaposition between reading through a mirror, the main character of this. She's a young black girl of 17, reading through her eyes, and then reading through her employer's eyes, who is a white woman who's a very successful businesswoman. The differences there between them, the kind of white privilege and just the expectations and the things that they experience are very, very different. And I think it's done really, really well actually. I haven't read enough about this book to know actually where it is going, so I'm quite looking forward to discovering it step by step, seeing where the story is going, because it will be a complete surprise for me. And then I've read about 150 pages of Queen of Shadows. It's okay, I'm not loving it yet, and I think that's why I haven't picked it up in a few days, because like the people in the story, the characters that it's focusing on at the moment, I'm just like not particularly interested in, so we'll see how that one goes. But yeah, so we're on Thursday. We'll see how much reading I get done tonight, but I'll probably update you either tomorrow or Saturday, I imagine. And hopefully Saturday we'll do some more interesting things, because literally so far this video is me just talking to you. So hopefully you don't mind that too much. So yeah, I'll check in with you guys later in the week. Bye. Morning everyone, it's now Saturday, welcome to the weekend, and I've been reading away Queen of Shadows. I'm about 200 pages from the end and I'm very much more enjoying it now, because at the beginning wasn't loving it so much, but now the story seems to be going somewhere. So looking forward. I think I probably will finish this one this weekend, hopefully. And I'm gonna sit here for a minute now and read Such a Fun Age. Hopefully, I mean, potentially we'll hopefully read this one this weekend as well. We'll see. I haven't really done a lot of reading this week. The only book that I've finished so far was Descendant of the Crane by Joan He. I finished that one yesterday. And part of it I was listening to on my way to work, and like near the end of it, if you've read it, you'll know. I mean, shit goes down. Like, there's just so much happening, so many like twists and turns. You couldn't even predict half of the stuff that was going on, and I was listening to it on my way to work, and I was like, oh my god, this is like really stressful. Like, I got to work and didn't really want to have to work because I wanted to just finish the book. But it was really, really good. Definitely the best YA book that I've read in recent days. So fun. Also, I think it's potentially the only like fantasy mystery book that I've ever read before. So essentially the whole story is like a big murder mystery and just a general mystery, I guess, thrown in with fantasy elements and then the kind of backdrop of this Chinese kind of culture. It was just excellent. I really, really enjoyed it. I gave it like 4.5 stars in the end. The characters were all really good. Although I did look up, because the end very much leaves it as if there's going to be another book. And I did see that the author has said that she isn't planning on writing one, or isn't planning on writing one soon. So that's a bit of a shame, because I was raring to have another book after that one. But we'll have to see. Maybe she'll write it in a few years' time. But I wouldn't let that put you off reading it if you're tempted, because it was really, really good, and in its own, it was very, very good. So I'm going to do a little bit of reading, and I'm going to show you the seeds that I popped in last week, because we have some growth already. In fact, I'm actually kind of amazed. The cucumber is like fully up, and all the other ones are like, I mean, some of them haven't even like sprouted yet. They may be duds, but I'm impressed with the cucumber. When I show you a clip in a minute, you'll see that like the 3 big ones that are like absolutely powering ahead of everybody else. Thank you all for joining me for another weekly reading vlog. Hopefully next week will be a little bit more exciting. I feel like it's just been me chatting at you this week, but hey, you might enjoy that, I don't know. Hopefully, I mean, tomorrow I'm going to start a new one, and I've got a day off with Mark, so we're going to actually do something nice together. So yeah, I hope you've all had a lovely reading week. Come and tell me in the comments what you've been reading. I'd love to have a chat with you. As always, I'll leave links to everything I've mentioned today down below, and I hope you're having a lovely day. So I'll see you soon. Bye.